Just because I love you, it don't mean I trust you. Everybody not to be trusted. Everybody around me thugging. Everybody around me drugging. Everybody around me hustling. Everybody know not to bring no new riggin' around me. They say I be bugging. Got racks in the go-yard luggage. Just cause I love you, it don't mean I trust you. Everybody not to be trusted.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is Uncut with Q, where we talk about all things business, entrepreneurship, and overcoming hardships. I am your host, Quentin Flores. Guys, it's your first time listening. We always ask that you share the crap out of this show, man. If you get value from this, if for whatever reason you listen to this, it keeps you awake at night, you gain perspective, it literally just like changes the way that you normally think about things, I would love for you to share the show. If we don't do that for you, then do not share the show. Aside from this, guys, we have like 5 different episodes that we do now. And one was just created with my friend Mitzi, right? So we have 5 different segments. This one's going to be one of the ones where I bring on somebody amazing, which is segment 1. I bring my amazing friends here and they tell you about the crazy shit that they've done in their lives. 1. 2, I have real talks. I come in here and I talk about some crazy ass shit that's on my mind. Number 3, my friend Trey and I, we surf the internet and we talk about things that are trending. Number 4, Mindset with Mitzi, where we talk about all things psychedelic, ayahuasca cleanses, and just crazy ass hippie ass shit. Then number 5 is Q&A with E and Q, where my friend Aaron Bevins and I answer your questions, where you can go to www.quentinflores.com/askq&e. With this being said, guys, you already know the premise of this. My goal is that you leave this podcast better than you found it. All right. And so today, man, I have a phenomenal guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the world, my friend.
Thanks, Q. I really appreciate it. And I am 33 years old, born in St. Louis, moved to Indianapolis. And then after 7 years of building my rental portfolio and software company there called Deal Machine, I moved to Austin, Texas earlier this year and have just loved being curious about life. One of the 2 things that I'm really excited about this past year was I read a book on hosting a 2-hour cocktail party and how that is the very best way as an adult to build new relationships, especially useful if you've just moved to a new place. And I hosted my first one exactly how this guy, he was so scientific about events. I followed his plan to the T. So there was a little bit of unusualness to it, but I followed it and it turned out to be an amazing event. And then the second thing that I've been really into is a sport that's popular in Austin called wake surfing.
That's crazy.
I've never been on a boat, behind a boat, I should say, in my entire life until this past July. And I've probably taken 30 wake surfing lessons. And just yesterday, I hired a professional wake surfer who's 23, and he started wake surfing when he was 11. And I'm just mind blown by the tricks that he could do. But one of the crazy things was I've been trying to do the 360, where you turn around on the board.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I've been trying to do that for the past 5 or 6 sessions, and I just kept brute forcing it, falling off, getting hurt by the board a couple of times. And the first thing he said to me gave me this unlock, and yesterday I got the 360 down for the first time, and it was so smooth, so much smoother once I could hear his feedback on that.
I'll bust my ass, man. That's crazy, bro. But Austin is beautiful. I love going there. For you guys listening that aren't from Texas, man, talk about a developing city. They're always building things. There's one thing I can say is I-35 going north toward Austin is a complete shit show, man. Talk about just terrible. They've been working on that since my wife and I got together. Legit, it's been 10 years now and they're still not done with that damn highway. But where Austin's going right now, bro, I feel like one day San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas are gonna all be connected, and it's gonna be just one giant Austin Alice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. it's really, you could see it. It's just gonna be like California between San Diego and Los Angeles. They've got plans for it on the route here. They're only an hour apart. And they've built the highway infrastructure. Wow. You're right. It's going to be a continuous city between the 2 cities.
It's a perfect place, too, for an entrepreneur to park their head for a minute. You know what I mean? I always love visiting Austin, and I can do a few months, but I love San Antonio because it's my home, right? But, I think that a lot of people could gain some peace of mind just going to a place and just really, being able to put the pieces of their business together in an environment that's so lively because there's so many places to eat, so many food trucks everywhere, so many hole in the wall restaurants. You guys ever decide to come to Texas, visit Austin, go to 6th Street, and you can just have a ball going down looking at all these awesome things. There's a place that I go to called Heavy Metal Pizza. Bro, I don't even care for the pizza. It's not even that great. What I love of it is like they have this black cat that's like in the cage and it like loves the place. I'm pretty sure that cat's still alive. Last time I saw the cat was like in 2016, and last time I saw it before that was in 2011.
Yeah.
Either that cat had babies or that's the same damn cat, you know. But they always play like the most heaviest metal, man, and I'm a big metal head. So, bro, I mean, dude, it's been phenomenal. We've known each other now for what, going on like 3 or 4 years already. 2019 is when I met you. And so, guys, you know, this is someone who is a dominant player in the software space. This guy has built an app from scratch, multiple thousands of users. I know this for a fact because he's helped me promote my events and he does email blasts through the app, right? And so if you're a user, you get the fucking notification straight to your phone. Bro, let's go back in time real quick. Why did you decide to develop the software in the first place? Because you mentioned that you have the software, right? It's called Deal Machine. You know, it's kind of tell everybody a little bit about the beginning of it, the origin of it.
Man, when I was in high school, I noticed that there were some kids that had nicer cars than me. And I had a very just great upbringing. You know, my parents instilled good values, hard work. But I was like, how do these kids have really nice cars? And I mean, I'm thankful to even have a car, right? I should be, and I am. But there was like something different that their parents were doing or thinking that allowed them to have that stuff. And I was just been on a hunt for what that was. And I stumbled across some business books, The 4-Hour Work Week. I stumbled across investing. And I knew that time was always on my side. So I started saving money when I was working at McDonald's and after I graduated college and got a 9-to-5 job as an engineer. Then I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it talked about escaping the rat race through real estate. A lot of people have read that book. It also inspired me. So I went looking for my first rental property. Nothing that was listed for sale was going to make a good cash flowing rental property at the time that I was looking. So I went to a meetup and found out you have to do this thing called driving for dollars, where you put in the work to look for a rundown house, look up who owns it, mail the owner. And I missed out on what I could have been a really amazing first real estate deal for me. And I used that really sad energy that I was feeling.
How'd you miss out on it?
Productively. Well, I had seen it like 3 weeks ago and I saw somebody was constructing on it, but I hadn't even looked it up yet. And when I looked it up, I realized somebody had just bought it in between when I saw it and when somebody started constructing on it. And it was for a price that would have made sense for me. So I felt that I personally missed out on that because I didn't do anything but write it on a piece of paper. And essentially, I used my computer skills to make a super basic app that would tell me, once I pin a property on a map, who owns it and send a piece of mail to the owner so I wouldn't forget. So that's how I missed out on it. And that's how I used that really sad energy in a positive way. And I was excited again to do my first real estate deal now that I had this tool that I created for myself.
Dude, it was a hustle back then, man. You know, for you guys that are listening, my upbringing is also from real estate. You know, I had tried network marketing. Prior to that, I had tried just hustling and being, you know, a kid, being stupid. I was doing stupid stuff. And when I got out of the trouble that got me into, I moved into real estate. And one of the things that was taught to me at a seminar as well was, you know, go out there and put in the work and write a bunch of houses down on a piece of paper and then go to the courthouse and then pull as much information as you possibly can and pray to God that you get one of them on the phone. And then you offer them 50% of market value and then you put the property under contract and then you sell it. It was not so easy, you know? And then, you know, the upsell was like, now, if you really want us to teach you how to do this, 20 grand now. And so I was like, well, what am I going to do, man? You know, I don't have $20,000 and I'm just here at this event meeting a whole bunch of other people that clearly don't have $20,000. But the few people that raise their hand, I see them like, oh, they're sitting at seat 19. Okay, we got to talk to this person because they raised their hand, said they had 20 grand. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in a seminar bubble. This is what this is, right? And, you know, for a lot of people, it's just too good to be true. But then I tried it out on my own, and I actually closed the deal doing it. It took me 1 year and 8 months of driving for dollars to close my first deal.
1 year and 8 months.
1 year and 8 months. I made $2,100.
That's not the longest story that I've heard.
Okay, great. Make me feel better about it, but for sure. You know, I wish I would have known Deal Machine, because last time David and I have a YouTube video, guys, just so y'all know. If you go to Quentin Flores on YouTube and then type in closing houses over the phone, right, you'll find a Deal Machine video that I did with David where he visited my office in 2019 and we put a property under contract using the app. And bro, like, blew my mind. Absolutely blown away. First call, offer accepted, closed and assigned in 30 days, made $21,000 on an app that cost me like $90 to $105. Like, it's like $100 a month almost, with all the resources and stuff that you could do, you know. But man, you decided to build the app. How long did that take?
Well, it's a process that we're still in the middle of.
Wow.
I don't ever feel like the app's been done. We're constantly working on it, and that's never changed. But the first version of it was something I was able to put together in a couple of weekends. It was just really basic looking. I mean, it wasn't amazing looking. It wasn't intended for anyone but myself.
I see.
So it had a map. I could pin a house. It would tell me the owner of the property. Originally, it just worked in Indiana because that's where I lived. But then, of course, we expanded across the country, and it works in all 50 states.
It's just wild.
But yeah,
man.
it started in a weekend, and it's never been finished. We're never not working on it.
Is that just how software is? It's just always evolving?
It's how good software is.
I see.
I think that if you stop working on it, then it becomes outdated and obsolete. So there's always, it's less like a rental property, you know, where it's like built and you're good. The software is always being built. At least at Deal Machine, we're always pushing updates every 2 weeks.
I notice as the economy changes and things, you know, trends pop up and things happen, it could definitely be a very hard transition for people who have only experienced one type of economy. And so, man, I mean, it's just been beautiful. Come on in, Trey. I got you some water, brother.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're fine, man. We forgot to bring out the water.
This is right spot on. I know you've been on a fitness journey, and I have as well. And it started with the 75 hard. Carlos Reyes got me onto that. But now I've adopted those practices and even amplified some of them. And one of the requirements is drink a gallon of water per day. And I drink 1.5 gallons now.
Dude, that's Kangen water.
What is Kangen
you know,
water?
It's crazy alkaline water.
Okay.
So I have an insane alkaline water machine that filters it, shocks the water completely. That is as pure as water that you're ever going to drink. Oh, absolutely. It's amazing, bro. Legit. Like, you taste just straight up nothing.
It is a nothing taste. You're right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can taste Aquafina, you can taste Zizani, you can even taste Smart Water, you know?
Right.
So yeah, man, definitely. And I do 75. I live hard. That's my thing. You know what I mean? So it's like every single day, almost 7 days a week, no matter what, I'm working out. And if I have to do resistance training, I'm very intentional about it. That's about 5 to 6 days out of the week. But cardio is every day. And that does, you know, bleed into what we do in business. So, bro, like, with the software thing, like, forever evolving, forever changing, what are some of the features that the app does for the guy who's listening right now who wants to get into real estate? How can that help that person transition into real estate?
So we pull a lot of data together so you can access the liens, you can access the probate list, and you can also get a live MLS comp feed to see the properties that are currently and were listed on the MLS. And you can run comps from the mobile app, and instead of going to your desktop for other apps or using a Realtor. And we provide the photos as well that the MLS had published, so you can truly comp the property to make sure you're comparing it to the house you're looking at, so you know how much a house should be worth when it's fixed up in perfect condition. So those are some of the things that we've added over the last year that could help somebody who's just getting into real estate, because the number one question is always, how do I value this house that I've got a lead for and I'm not sure what to offer for?
Dude, how does the app expedite the driving for dollars process? Because I know Deal Machines is a driving for dollars app.
We started with the driving for dollars, but I wouldn't classify it as a driving for dollars app anymore because it's a portion of what the app does, and there's so many things that it does beyond just driving for dollars.
I see. That is awesome. You know, I've been real estate monster for years, bro. That has always been my brand. You know, when I started building out my brand, 2016, 2015, I always called myself the monster of the business because I want to eat up the competition, you know? And so I am no longer just real estate monster anymore.
Did you change your Instagram handle?
Everything. Changed
Real
everything.
Quentin Flores.
That's all it is now.
I've seen that, but it didn't occur to me that you'd made the change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reason why I did that was because I just don't want people to associate my value with just property. You know what I mean? Because like your app, I do so much more for people than just show them how to make wealth in real estate.
Yeah.
This podcast being one of them, because I bring amazing people on like yourself that really share their stories and from all different backgrounds of business. I got a lady that is going to be coming through that owns about 9 hospitals in Seattle. She's a billionaire. We're going to have her on the show very soon.
Wow.
That's in negotiations, you know. Grey's Anatomy, you know the show?
Yeah.
Her hospital is what they use to film that show on.
No way.
Yeah, man. I met her through my mentor, Preston, and Preston is a 9-figure earner as well. It's going to be amazing, man. And Preston's going to be on the show very soon too. But I think the best part about just transitioning brand like that is that you elevate to this level where you're able to serve a more broader amount of people across the entire spectrum, not just people that are in real estate. You know what I mean?
Right.
And no offense to anybody who gets into real estate, because a lot of us want to get in and we're very eager to learn. In my opinion, man, real estate is an awesome way to build wealth. It's always going to be, but there's definitely a lot of toxic masculinity inside of the real estate business. And so, you know, I choose to not associate myself with a lot of the other guys that are in there that are self-proclaimed gurus, self-proclaimed success is whatever, right? I want my success to be defined by the amount of people that I've helped build wealth in any category. I help a guy right now who has a giant Turo business, man. I know nothing about Turo. And he has 8 cars and he does Airbnb arbitrage. He parks the cars at an apartment complex that he also owns. Not that he owns it, but he does the Airbnb buildings. So he owns the leases on 5 of those. So he has his cars in the lot and he gets the guests to book the Airbnb and then he gets them to book on the Turo.
Got it.
So
That's
the car is
great.
right there.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about renting one. Pick which one you want. It has a van, truck, car, whatever.
That's amazing.
You know, and I've just kind of been helping him structure it, and he's been winging it this whole time. So now it's just like I'm helping this guy build out a system in his business, and I think that's what I can appreciate about what you've done with your software is it helps people streamline building out systems within their business. You know what I'm saying? What do you think is the most beneficial thing that the app provides to someone?
It's a good starting place for getting involved in real estate investing. I think everybody has the data. There's a lot of apps that have the same type of data, but Deal Machine really provides you 2 easy options. If you've got less money, you can spend time driving for dollars. If you've got a little bit more money and you want to go further without a ton of time, then you've got the list builder side, which you could pull all the expired listings that have 35% equity and send mail to them. You know, that would cost you a little bit more in marketing, but it's going to save you a lot in time. So it's all of those 2 things, but also like mobile first. And there's not anything else that's really mobile first where we are an app and you can do the stuff on the desktop. And that's kind of how people operate their business when they're on the go. They don't have a computer all the time.
Yeah, I love that. You know, there's psychology to that. That's convenience. You know, like my wife and I, we have a yearly membership. We spend $120 a year with an app called Shipped. So what we did was we calculated the amount of gas money that we spent going to the grocery store and back, right? So I'm like doing the math. And when the math starts mathing, you're like, wait a second. I drive a 6.2 liter V8 at the time, Raptor. Now I drive TRX, which Dodge is gang now, y'all. I'm no longer driving Fords ever again for the rest of my life. Ford stands for found on road dead, okay? No offense, but my Raptor blow up. So if you guys have a Raptor, TRX is better. Aside from this, right? So I realized that I spend about $400 to $600 a year on gas getting to and from the grocery store. You know what makes that so much more convenient? I'd rather spend $120 a year on an app, save $300, and get my groceries delivered to me.
You do save on the money, but really, I think for you, the value's got to be the time.
Absolutely. It is the time.
Because you're not picking a Prius, so obviously the cost isn't really an issue for you.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. It is the
time
lifestyle.
is the most valuable thing that you have.
Because the time creates the lifestyle.
Like you're at a point where you're really realizing that.
I think that with your business model, you realize that at a really early stage, you know, because a lot of people can dig for gold and find real estate deals, or you can figure out a way to help them and then they can find real estate deals. You sell them the shovel and you tend to, not only that, man, but how many people have closed deals because of your platform? Can you even count at this point?
Oh yeah, 10,000 plus deals. But it's actually really funny for me to hear you say that because I certainly did not think about it that way. You know, I think that I was really interested in getting my own real estate deal, and I made this tool for myself, and it was really terrible looking. It did not look good at all. The only reason I put it on the App Store was because somebody at my meetup heard me talk about it, and they said they'd spend $1,000 to try any new marketing method. And I was trying to figure out how to get it on their phone, because as a software developer, you can just plug your phone in, you can get it on their phone. And I was freaking out a little bit because I didn't like have a way to accept a payment. And the easiest way to put it on our phone was to get it on the App Store. So that's how it even started, man. It wasn't like I was really strategic in saying like, oh, I'm going to go build these shovels so that people can use a shovel and I'm going to get rich off of it. And I mean, it was truly amazing. It's grown beyond my wildest dreams. The only reason that I made it in the first place was to get my own deal. And I did. It was a house I bought for $4,000.
Wow.
So anything above and beyond that, I've always thought is amazing. And I'm extremely thankful. And I just have to pinch myself sometimes that it happened that way. But it wasn't like you can look back at it and say I was really smart at that strategy, but it wasn't my strategy, man. I was trying to get my own deal.
I see. You know, bro, one of the things that I love so much about like just that in general is that a lot of times you'll find opportunity along the way just by planting yourself in the environment.
Yes.
You plant yourself in the environment, you'll probably, and I hate the word luck, but it does exist. When you work really hard, you tend to get a lot more lucky, you know?
Yes.
And so that was just like something that had happened, boom, right? Yeah. And then capitalization on opportunity as it presented itself, which then created an idea. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I'm trying to stay open to new things because as your business does grow and get established, you can kind of get in a routine, I've noticed, where you're not as open to innovation and new ideas. And to combat that, I've been reading this book called Do/Improvise, and I've taken a few improv classes. And I'm not even really that interested in like the theater improv comedy version of the class, but it's kind of a way of life. In this book I was reading, it was talking about you should treat everything as an offer. There was a similar story, I felt like, that was mentioned in the book by Honda. And Honda came to the United States, and they obviously took off. They sell tons of engines, motorcycles, cars, you name it, in the United States. And the business schools in the United States, like Harvard, they looked back at it and they claimed that it was this amazing strategy. But really, the author of this book was very close with people who worked at Honda, and the reality of the situation was they just sent people to the U.S. and said, figure out some stuff. And those people in the U.S. didn't have an amazing strategy that came to fruition. They just were very open to like listening to what was happening on the ground, trying new things. It wasn't like they had the grand plan, but they just tried a lot of things, and they were open to how people reacted to it.
And you get feedback too, and then you're able to adjust because you're like, well, someone didn't like this about the app, and so I can try to do this. And then again, a bunch of people like it, right? And then you still get like a 10% feedback of people who don't. You're just constantly refining the craft of what it is to develop the software in the first place, because you had an idea then got materialized, then it got pushed out there. Next thing you know, somebody was like, dude, David, this is great. Like, wow, talk about offsetting the time frame of what it takes for me to run a business. And now you just plug that into what everybody's doing, and it creates like this reciprocation of value, which is one of my favorite forms of marketing, is word of mouth marketing, because it costs $0 to be a good person.
Yeah.
And so when you really help someone and you serve to that extent, you're bound to get good fortune eventually. You know what I mean? I have a virtual assistant company that I created recently. We talked about it when we were on the phone yesterday. Or dang, how long ago was that? It was like 2 days ago?
That was 2 days ago.
Yeah. So this was completely spontaneous, y'all. Like literally we were going to plan this out just a couple weeks, but he lives in Austin. I had to bring him down here. He used to have to fly to get here. Mind you, you've flown to my office twice.
2 segments. There's not a direct flight from Indianapolis to San Antonio. That's how much I wanted to come.
Wow.
Back in 2019.
This is a crazy thing too, man, and that's the value that it's just always reciprocated, bro, because we've helped each other out tremendously in the business, whether I'm advocating for the product, which I've done, I believe in it. I didn't at the beginning. And so David was like, dude, let me just come to your office and show you what's up. Literally, I didn't think anything was going to come from that, bro. And that brought me out of a huge hole, man. My business was kind of upside down at the time. We were making a lot of money, but we weren't necessarily profiting. And what we did profit just got eaten up by overhead because I had such a heavy establishment, Now where I'm at, it's like way sustainable. But going back to the reason why I'm talking about this is, I find that I make the most amount of money helping other people make the most amount of money. That is the greatest thing that I've ever done in my life. So if I can continuously provide a product that helps people make money very easily in their business, I know that my fortune will be within that because the glory of one person is bound with what he's capable of doing for many others. What do you think about that?
One person is bound by what he's capable of doing for others. Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. And I feel like if you want to make $1 million, you've got to help 1 million people.
Yep.
I've heard that said before. So it's like a slight variation on that.
Yeah. Man, it's just crazy, bro, seeing the growth of the company. Because every time I get connected with you, I'm always just hearing amazing things, dude. You get the software up and running, right? Now it's taken off. It's been years already. How long ago was it that the app launched?
It was in 2017 officially.
Officially.
Yep.
So 5 years in the making. And now it's also primary a desktop thing that people can use too?
It's always been a mobile app that also has all the functionality on the desktop.
I see. So you can choose which one you want, right? These people that come and they use the software, essentially, what do you think is the most valuable thing that it adds to their business out of everything else that they could do within the app?
Man, I know you've asked me that a couple times, but I'm curious, what do you think is the most valuable piece of it?
Wow. Dude, to be honest, it just goes back to convenience, bro.
Yeah.
I operate 90% of my business on this phone. Literally, while I'm here with you, I'm scheduling picking up my son on my phone. I am literally replying to a message right now of a comp that we have to send to this guy's email because we have a buyer that's interested in one of our properties.
Yep.
So I'm doing all this from my phone, And so I think 95% of my business is ran from my phone. And I really appreciate that, to be honest, because I don't like having different computers, different laptops, different MacBooks, different screens with spreadsheets on them. I just want everything in one device, Right. And so I think that what Deal Machine has done for me in the past and what I still continue to use it for is just really makes it convenient to stay on top of my business because everything's in one database and there's a CRM inside of it too, So I have guys, before digital driving for dollars came out, this was something so David called me one time, right? And he's like, Q, you don't even need to drive anymore to drive for dollars.
Right. There is a virtual driving for dollars portion that you can use. If you're scrolling before you go to bed, I don't know if you do this in the bathroom, but you can drive for dollars. Look for rundown properties, essentially on like a Google Earth type view, and add the properties in the app, and it tracks your route so you don't go on the same streets twice, and you can pick up where you left off if you're doing multiple times per day. It's
insane. So David called me, told me I no longer have to drive for dollars. I can virtual drive for dollars now.
Yeah.
So literally, we took an opportunity with that, right? We would already driven 5,000 plus houses. You had created key performance indicators,
right,
that were trackable based on the success of other clients that were utilizing it.
Yeah.
That was something that another thing, I know we're talking about things that we appreciate. That is another thing. Ain't no other company do that, bro. They don't tell you how many properties you can drive for dollars to get one property under contract. You guys gave out a whole map on how you can be successful with the app. So there's like no excuses at that point. You follow the numbers and you're going to get contracts based on over 10,000 users' capabilities. These numbers have been tracked and you're able to see it. So once, for a lot of people, guys, seeing is believing. Once you see it, you're like, okay, that's what I have to do. We did this for 3 months. I had almost 20,000 properties that we drove for dollars on, closed about 20 contracts, made a little over $1.3 million in revenue using Deal Machine. This was in this was in August of 2019 when that happened. We went all in on Drive for Dollars. You know what I mean? And so we also did Bandit Signs too. So I can't say that all that revenue came from just that app, but still, Bandit Signs, Direct Mail, and Deal Machine. That was our bread and butter for a solid 4 or 5 months, man. So, once you release the trackable things and then the badges that you gain as well, like made me feel better about myself too. Like closing my rings on my watch, my fitness watch, right? Absolutely. That was another thing that I loved so much about that because I'm all about closing my rings on my watch, bro. Mm-hmm. The app also rewards you for doing that. Mm-hmm. So, people want a reward system. I don't care what it is. I'm competitive with an app. But those are the two things that I appreciated. One, the convenience of running my business all from my phone. And two, the key performance indicators of trackable success from past clients utilizing and current users utilizing the platform.
Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, it's like sometimes I'm thinking about it too much that I can't articulate what it is that is the like why do people love this so much? There's a lot of different value points, but I think the convenience part is definitely how it started for me because I was handwriting letters. The app writes the letters for you. I was having to go to my house and look up the property address, and the app does that for you and combines it with the mail piece so that you can just do that in one simple step. And I didn't know you guys closed 20 deals and 1.3 million in revenue.
We did. Yep.
In that following 4 months. I mean, I knew about the one deal you got a hold of that day, which was mind-blowing in and of itself. Obviously, you're a good closer. You know exactly what to say on the phone. So that's really, really amazing that happened so quickly for you.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you, David, while I'm here with you and whatnot, because I don't think I've ever heard you been asked this question, man.
All right,
everybody always talks to you about what your app does for other people, man. Yeah. What has inventing this thing and pushing it out there done for you and your lifestyle and what you're able to do now?
It's a great question. The first thing that comes to mind, and maybe the first thing that I learned, was I created the app myself, and then I had a partner that helped with the technology side of things, and it was he and I that created this thing together. There was a moment last year where he was having a baby, and he's on the engineering side. Mm-hmm. I'm also an engineer. I went to school for computer engineering, but I'm not as good as him, and I hadn't been in the weeds. I was the CEO. And I thought I would just jump in and start doing some engineering work with the team. I feel like that was a moment where I grew as a leader, that if what you're doing is in the weeds, then what you're doing is really not like leadership. If you're doing things on your own, that's really not leadership, because it made the rest of the team feel like I didn't trust them to do the work that was necessary.
Wow.
I wasn't super involved with a lot of the processes. So I was not being a good example of following the engineering processes, not intentionally. I just didn't know what they all were because I wasn't working with the team as closely. So although I got done what I needed to get done, it kind of created distrust in my team that like I said, that they were kind of worried about their jobs. Like, does David think we're still capable of doing this work?
Wow.
And then it kind of confused them because I wasn't following the process, and I'm sure it caused some bugs that they had to go back and fix because I didn't follow the right process. That was like a huge takeaway, is once you get to a point where you do have a team, even if you know how to do it, it's really important to work through that team to accomplish what your goal is.
Wow. Man, that was beautiful, bro. I've experienced that too. I've gone through that in the worst way. I got real angry one time, and this was during the pandemic. My business was so upside down, bro. Like, we had made so much money in 2019. I can't even tell you where it went. It went I will tell you, it went into taxes and overhead. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we had a real estate event that we were planning. You remember what the last time I saw you was at that real estate event?
I do remember that.
Ground Zero.
It was a great event.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I was not mentally prepared to be there, man. I was the unhealthiest I've ever been. I was completely unstructured.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
We were in the process of letting our entire staff go while you were there showing the app and I'm shooting content.
I didn't know that.
It's all good. I didn't really talk about it that much, So this podcast has allowed for me to open up a lot. Mm-hmm. And so, I process things while I'm on this. Mm-hmm. But I didn't feel like I could trust my team, and I pushed good people away. Good people that depended on me, that depended on the system, that were making decent money. But truthfully, I don't think that I was... you attract the energy that you put out.
Mm-hmm.
So if I am consistently unhealthy, consistently negative, consistently not trusting anyone, consistently trying to do things on my own, then how am I ever going to lead a team when I can't even lead myself, you know? And so I had to look real inwards. And so June 27th of 2020, I go to El Paso and I meet my mentor. That same day was the last drink that I've ever had in my life. I quit alcohol.
I also quit alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, not to take away from your
No,
story,
you're
but
fine.
that just got me really excited.
Yeah, I'm over 2 years sober from alcohol, man.
That's
It's
amazing.
been beautiful. I think last time I checked, and again, the convenience of my life allows for me to be able to check these things. Hold up. I am currently 855 days sober from alcohol.
That's a lot of days.
Yeah, man. It's been wild.
That's got to be almost 3 years, right?
And yep, it goes 122 weeks and keep on doing this, 28 months. Been doing this, man. 2 years. It's beautiful. Even how many seconds passed by from the last time I drank alcohol.
That's amazing.
I downloaded this app so I could always remember and track it.
Yeah.
I have friends too, by the way, that gave up alcohol that are in the space, like my friend Pat Hilton. Love you to death, Pat. If you ever listen to this, man, you are an inspiration. I would not have done this if you would have not have been posting about your journey of quitting alcohol. So I'm always trying to feel like I'm catching up to him. You know, and I know this sounds stupid to say, but sometimes just because I'm competitive as fuck, I just want him to fuck up one time so I can say that I'm 800 days ahead, right? But he's never going to let me have that satisfaction.
Yeah.
He's always going to not drink. And so I'm always going to be behind him. So I look up to him in that aspect of I aspire to have as many days as he's had.
Guarantee you somebody will be inspired by you and they will think the same thing about you, and that is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about it.
I may have pushed good people away, but with the new energy that I have now and being involved with Mother Nature, because last time you were telling me, he was like, you said you were a city guy, right? And I remember you and I were talking last time. I probably had mentioned that to you. I fell in love with Mother Nature, man. I go fucking kayaking. I'll go and spend time on a river. I walked 5 miles down a river just so I could fly fish for an hour and a half. And then I walked 5 miles back up while the river's pushing against me. And I'm capable of
You're
doing
walking
those
in the
things
water?
now. Walking in the
Amazing.
water. I had waders on.
Way to get fully engulfed in nature.
Yeah, man. And I fell, busted my ass a few times, but man, it was beautiful, bro. I had the rods on my back. I had my tackle in my chest because you have this thing that you wear, and then I had my waders on, so it's not like I was getting wet, but it was still like it was a beautiful experience, man. I wish I would have known this part of myself a long time ago, but sometimes bad things have to happen, and sometimes things have to fall apart so that they can fall back together in a better place. Because I tell you right now, David, you're probably meeting me again at my best that I've ever been, bro. I'm 250 pounds now. I can deadlift 415 pounds. I can squat 450 pounds. I can bench 350 pounds. I can fucking run like the wind. I can jump rope like the wind. And I just feel like a new man.
That's amazing.
And I'm 32.
That's amazing. Yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah.
I'm a year older.
When I met you, you were still in your 20s.
That's right. That's right.
But the reason why I'm saying those things, man, is because guys like you inspire me, bro. I see what you're doing, and it's always just like, man, and I know we talked about the selling shovel thing. I don't mean for that to be disrespectful when I said that. But that's one of the that's one of the things that I saw,
Yeah.
I'm like, the guys that do so well in this business, that buy the most real estate, that flip the most houses, that have the best lifestyles, they really help other people make more money, and they help people not just make money, but make their lives easier. And I feel that that's what your software has been able to do, not to mention all the amenities, bro. Like, how many places have you traveled because you have the freedom to work from your desktop and
San
your phone?
Antonio, up there on the top of the list.
Yeah.
But all around the country. I know, just like yourself, right? You've gotten to speak to an audience of 500 plus people.
Yeah.
And then do fishing trips on the side at the same time. That's an amazing gift, right?
It is a gift, bro. It is a gift, and we worked really hard for that gift. You know what I mean? So it's good to just be engulfed in it. Dude, for anybody who, let's say they, like the guy who's listening right now, has an app that he's trying to get off of the ground, you're probably an inspiration to him. You're telling me over 10,000 users, right?
Yeah.
Insane, bro. Are they all over the United States?
Yeah, they're all over the United States.
Can you tell me the names of all of them? Just cause
I could, but I don't have them memorized.
No,
I have to
you're
check
fine.
our CRM.
I'm just wondering. See that's what's amazing. Like that guy who's in a startup right now thinks he has an amazing idea, wants to launch it. Maybe it's something that he's just using for himself. What advice would you give that person listening to that podcast right now? This podcast.
I can really share what I experienced myself.
Okay.
And it's a little bit different than what others experienced because I had a little bit of the skill set to go develop a basic piece of software myself.
Coming from the engineer
studied
background,
computer
right?
engineering.
That's crazy.
And what I would do instead, if I didn't have that skill, was to write up the most basic version of the app, and I would go to upwork.com where you can hire freelancers, and I would give these set of requirements to post a job, and I would say, I'll pay $500 for however much of this you can get done. And then I would hire the 3 people who say they can do the most requirements and get that done. And then I would look at the product that they made, and I would see which one actually did get the most done and which one was enjoyable to communicate with, and which one hit the target that they said they would hit. And then I would do version 2 with that person. And as soon as do you get what I'm saying? There's kind of a selection process when you're selecting a software developer, especially if you haven't developed software yourself. It is very difficult to know who's going to be great to work with or not unless you actually work with them. So that does have like a $1,500 cost because you're paying 3 people to do the same thing, but it quickly helps you identify, okay, who's actually the best person to work with. And then spend more money with whoever that person is until you get to the point where you've got like a minimum viable product that you can get in your own hands and accomplish what you want to accomplish. And for me, I wasn't doing customer research. I was just like, I just want this because I'm trying to do real estate investing, and this is a problem I'm having. There's not a tool out there that will do it for me, and I want to do it for that reason. So that would be my recommendation on how to go about it.
I love it,
is
man.
to find a developer that way. And if you're your own user, I mean, that was my scenario.
Bro, for all the people that are listening, where can they find you, man?
They can find me on Instagram, DLeco. They can find my business website, which is dealmachine.com, or on the App Store, Deal Machine.
You guys, if y'all are wanting to check out the Deal Machine app and also just be involved with the Deal Machine community, constant education, constant weekly calls, constant client success spotlights, literally just like a whole community and a whole service that is being brought that's unparalleled in this space. This is the guy that you want to connect with, all right? So y'all make sure you go to dealmachine.com. Also follow my guy David on all of his platforms. I'll drop it in the comment section for y'all. Thank you so much, David, for being on the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me. I had a blast.
Absolutely, bro. I will see you guys on the next one. Let's get it.